Yesterday, the markets were in a bit of a meltdown, and when things like that happen, traders can start to panic. You might have been in that situation yesterday yourself, or maybe you've been in that situation before. You know, those situations where you're stuck with a position open and you're not sure what you should do because you're not entirely sure what's actually going on. You start scrambling around, reading the news, searching Twitter, digging up random sources here, there, and everywhere to try and get a grip on what's actually causing the volatility and how long it might last, and ultimately whether you should actually close the position that's drifting more and more into a loss. Now, that's a really costly situation to be in. Even if you end up escaping with a profit, it costs mental energy, emotional energy, time, and ultimately, over the long term, it's probably going to end up costing you money in the markets as well. So yesterday gave an extreme situation of that, an extreme example, but actually if that's the way that you trade, you're likely to be doing this on a much more regular basis, but just on a smaller and less noticeable scale. So I want to let you in on a little tip here, because I think it's important that we learn from these sort of experiences. If you had a bad one yesterday, then you need to take some lessons from it. So here's a little tip that will help you throughout your trading career. So when you're learning to trade, you obviously have to put work in. No one is going to succeed if they don't put in the work during the learning phase, right? But actually after that, once you know how to trade and you're in the live markets, there's an inverse relationship between hard work and success. Now, I'm not talking about people who are just gambling in the markets and put in no work at all. Obviously, they're not succeeding on a regular basis anyway. I'm talking about people who take trading seriously. When you're risking money in the markets, you have to work harder when things are not going well than when things are going well. Like, think about it. When things aren't going well, you have to figure out why they aren't going well, and then you have to work harder to try and fix things. You have to do all sorts of mental gymnastics to know whether to scale out and exit and whatever else. But if things are going well, you don't really have to do much at all. You execute your prepared plan in line with what you're seeing in the markets, and that's it. And this is where a lot of traders get things wrong. Now, I don't care what method of trading you're using. The better prepared you are each day for your trading session, the better you're going to trade. It doesn't matter if it's with the Duomo method or something else. That's just a core principle. So if you dedicate more time to making sure you're fully prepared, you're going to get the best out of yourself. But whenever I do live streams or videos with our members or with you guys talking about things that you should do regularly to be better prepared or to improve your trading, routines that you should commit to every day, things that you should be tracking or optimizing, I get the same response a lot of the time, which is, that sounds like a lot of effort, that's a lot of work. When in reality, it's probably no more than an hour each day, and these are relatively easy tasks. But the alternative, if you don't do these things, is much worse. It's just like what Naval Ravikant says: hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. Traders choose each day to rush on their preparation and to procrastinate on things like tracking and optimization. They just want to jump straight into the markets. They see it as taking too much time and effort. It's taking them away from what they should be doing, which is trading. But actually, it leads to them saving time and effort in the long run, as well as making them much more profitable if they do take these steps each day. Take fundamentals, for example, and financial news. So lots of traders yesterday would have been wondering what the hell's going on. Maybe a lot of them would have been spending their entire 8-hour or however long trading session diving into the news, reading every article they can get, trying to piece things together and understand what's going on, but ultimately being left with a huge amount of uncertainty and not having it actually lead to improved profitability for their trading. Because they didn't stay on top of it over time, they paid the price. Easy choices, hard life. Now, over the weekend, I was talking about this with some of our members, and I explained my process when it comes to staying on top of the fundamentals and the financial news. Like, for example, the video we put out on our second channel, Market Movers, yesterday, covering the situation with inflation, the Federal Reserve, and bond yields. Now, a video like that, or the information that goes into it, that doesn't take a huge deep dive research session. That just takes a small amount of time each and every morning and throughout trading sessions just to stay on top of things. When you make a simple task like going through the financial news a daily task, part of your routine, it actually becomes easier and quicker each time you do it. You know what you can skim read, you know what you can skip, you know when something is important or when something's irrelevant. It also means you know when something is worthy of a bigger research project because it might end up being an opportunity, or when you need to step out of the markets and be more cautious because something's going on, like yesterday. Now, most days I only spend about half an hour or so, but when there is something bigger, I can invest much more time into it and it will pay off in terms of a bigger opportunity and ultimately more profitability with my trading. But when you don't do it each day, you'll be inefficient and slow. You'll have to read everything because you don't know what's important or not. On days like yesterday, you don't have good foundations of what's been going on, so you have to read everything to try and piece together the situation rather than just knowing and only needing that little snippet of information to have that final missing piece. So by avoiding the daily task, you make your work harder in the long run and you miss all the good opportunities. Or when you think about preparing properly before a trade, if you spend time preparing your plan and where you're going to be making your decisions and what you'll be making them based on, you don't have to be sitting at your chart sweating over every movement the price makes and deciding what you should or shouldn't do. So you can spend less time babysitting trades, less time trying to process information and think about what the action you should be taking is, and more time living. You make the hard choices up front so that you can live an easier life. And if you want to know more about setting that sort of plan, check out this video, we'll link up here. It's from a little while ago now, but it's about a simple rule that you can follow with your trading and decision making to get much better outcomes like what I just said there. But anyway, that's all for now. It was just a simple message for you today as a reminder that it might seem counterintuitive, but putting in the work up front rather than being lazy and procrastinating actually ends up saving you time and effort and makes you much more profitable as a trader. So hopefully if you did have a bad experience yesterday in the market meltdown and any others that are to come, because they inevitably will one day, you'll allow this to be one of the lessons that you gain from that. So hit the like button if you agree with what I said or if you're going to start doing this. If you learned something from this, please do hit the like button. And remember, hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. I know which one I'd prefer. If you want to know how I trade and the sorts of things that I recommend to improve your trading, check out the free training in the description box or linked at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great trading week, whatever is left of it when you watch this, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.